Happy Mind, Happy You, where your journey to boundless possibilities begins. Simply type Happy Mind, Happy You, or look for our logo, the heart with a smile.
Hello and welcome to Happy Mind, Happy You. My name is Colin Wyatt, and the name of our season is called Be the Change. And Be the Change is where we inspire others to make courageous choices so they can also live amazing lives as well. And today we have a very, very special guest, and I'd love to bring her onto the show so we can have an interaction together. It's been a little while. So, without further ado, we have the beautiful, the amazing Stella Grace.
Wow, thank you. What an intro. I feel very special. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Colin. It's lovely to be back chatting with you again.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
been a
Yeah.
while. It's been a while.
Yes, it
I think the
has.
last thing we did was radio, wasn't it?
Yes,
Radio show.
absolutely, which I absolutely loved. And it was such a great energy to share together on all things unity. And like you said, lots of the wisdom that's shared. It's great to have these conscious conversations. I love it. So thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. And I love what you just said there. Conscious conversations.
It's
And
good
that's
stuff,
exactly
isn't
what
it?
it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Stella, just tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to go straight into it. There's some roles that I've had for some time. Um, i- Online, I may be better known for my Reiki teaching and treatments, and I'm an astrologer, I'm a tarot card reader, I'm an aromatherapist. So I've been, really enjoying the holistic therapies for about the last 8 years. But what I'm going to jump straight in with is my passion project. And I'm currently writing a book and creating an oracle deck. And so that has stemmed from different experiences professionally, but probably mostly personally, which is where, my passions really come in. So I'm looking forward to talking to you more about that today. And hopefully, I think it really fits with your theme, interestingly, around Be the Change, because we're just in it together, aren't we? Inspiring each other, supporting each other, spreading some not just good news, but like you were saying, conscious conversations. And I think it's an absolute privilege to be able to discuss and share such matters. So thank you. And yeah, it's a little bit about me. Um, Prior to the holistic therapies for those last sort of 8 years, I was a drug and alcohol worker with teenagers for specifically for 10 years, 5 years before that with young people. So a fairly long history with supporting others. And really, that was inspired by my own personal journey. I was always very drawn to help others. And I kind of knew quite early on as a teenager that actually inspiring people, supporting people with difficult things was something that I really wanted to do. But that also came from a place of my own healing journey, which was really quite categorized by some of my childhood traumas for the good and the bad. So, I've got this really interesting insight I've always had in terms of being able to look at something, not always finding it easy, but not long after finding the reframe. And I think that's something that's sort of at my core, and is something at the core of my work, and something that I hope will inspire others to sort of look at their situations and reframe. And that's certainly a theme throughout the book. So my childhood was quite dominated by parental alcoholism, and the many associated traumas that go on in that world. But it was quite clear to me from an early age that there was a higher purpose, that there was something more in that. There was, a bigger plan. And yes, it was really, really tough in certain years, and in adult years as well. The different traumas that we all go through. And you wouldn't, of course, in our conscious human lives necessarily choose to go through them, but I certainly believe that we signed up to these lessons and these learnings, and how we best utilize gaining the wisdom and the gold from them. So that's really at the core of kind of all my work.
Mm, wow, amazing. That's beautiful. And the fact that, even to the most skeptical person, something that can't really be denied is you cannot get these experiences through a book. As in, like life experience, you know. So whether people believe that we chose to come in or to have these experiences, whether we believe that or not, the evidence is actually you couldn't get life experience from a book. You have to
Mm,
be in it, you know, and have to experience it. And that is then where we take it into a conscious realm of, do I become the victim or the victor? You
mm.
know, do I choose it as my superpower or my super kryptonite?
Absolutely. Yeah, I really love that. And you can feel that, can't you? I mean, certainly as well in contrast when, you know, and I don't know about you, but I've needed certain learnings from books for certain roles, you know, so
Yeah.
I did a degree and I needed that for my career. And, you know, working with those young people for that 15-year period is a good example here of what you're saying, because yes, I'd done some of the textbook training, but the real powerful, meaningful work, and again, now in my holistic therapies practice, is the work that where you come alongside someone. You come alongside someone through shared experience, through connection. Those are the things you can't get out of a book. And I think that the proof is in the pudding. Like you say, you can't generate that inorganically.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with what you say. You know, there's books are not to be, you know, kind of just put away. You know,
Mm,
there's some incredible knowledge in those books and energy within those books, you know.
yes. Yeah.
You only have to be around them to pick up on it. Because if we look at quantum entanglement, you know, everything's connected. So there's nothing that's separate. So books definitely have their place for sure. But for the actual experience, like the book won't give you the experience, it'll give you the experience of someone else's experience, and you may be
Mm,
able to align with what they're saying, but it would never be identical to the experience you have from your personal perspective.
yeah, for sure. And also the ability and the connection that two people or more have when they come together. There's power, there's great power in that, isn't there? Sometimes for the healing, sometimes, you know, for the resonance, for whatever that purpose is, but something magical happens, and that can be really beautiful when it's from organic experience as well.
I agree 100%. Something you mentioned of as well about your book. So you said about alchemizing grit into gold.
Yes,
I
yes.
love that. I love that. Describe it. How did that pop into your mind just to kind of get that marriage of those two things together?
Yeah. I've always absolutely adored and resonated so much, again, from a personal place of resonance, with the Japanese philosophy of kintsugi, where they will paint and repair flaws and cracks in pottery and art and objects with gold. And the philosophy is that, you know, we are more beautiful perhaps for our flaws. Actually, they tell a story, they show the journey, they show the scar, but they're gold because actually we've gleaned wisdom from that experience, from that challenge, from that scar. So I've always really loved that, and the idea of alchemy itself, you know, where just gleaning gold from lead, you know, how that we actually do have that capacity and that mastery and those skills. So I love those kind of concepts, and I stumbled across those years ago, and it just visually felt like such a fit for me in terms of actually coming from a place where for many years I felt very broken. I actually felt really broken by my trauma. I felt flawed, and discovering that philosophy and discovering the, you know, the notion of alchemy, it made me really, you know, revisit an old remembrance that actually we're never true, we're never really broken, we're always, you know, whole and perfect and complete, and, you know, it's always the goal, we've always been the gold actually. But I definitely came at it from a place of having forgotten, as we often do as humans. And so it was just this beautiful remembrance. It's something that's throughout the book, you know, in terms of the design, but also throughout the three-stage process that the book offers in going from grit to grace. So
Mm.
bringing in, you know, people really inviting them to really identify their own grit as they go through the journey of my book. And it's supported by being absolutely filled with tools to do so, and an accompanying oracle deck. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
numerous tools to support people to alchemize their challenges and find their own grace and gold from their grit.
Yeah. So like an inner alchemy.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
inner alchemy is just changing states, right? It's like it's changing the state of what the cracked floor looked like with the Japanese art,
Yeah,
and then what you feel is cracked inside, alchemizing that and turning it into something beautiful. Yeah, love it.
yeah, absolutely.
Love it. So how long have you been working on this book?
My goodness, I think it's been tinkering around inside my mind for probably about 8 to 10 years. It's finally being birthed this year.
Yeah.
And you'll know what it's like, Colin, because I know you're also a book writer. Sometimes it can be like a labor of love. It's like, I love this. It's my passion project. It's 1,000,000% aligning and alivening all my cells.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, oh, either, wanting more time to do it, or, yeah, feeling like, you're getting a bit of a full head from it. So it's a passion project, but it's a labor of love. But it's coming into the world this year. I'm on track to meet my own deadline of mid-June for completion.
Nice.
And then on the journey for publishing, because I'd like it to be published widely and supported well. So that will be the
Mm.
next leg of the journey unfolding.
Beautiful. That's gorgeous.
Thank
So,
you.
so you said about me being a writer as well, and so
Yeah.
my book is it's been in the writings since 2017, 2016. So, so I know what you mean. It's like because inside you're like, I want to get it out. I just want to get it out, and but it's almost like the whole entire universe is saying to you, nah, not yet, nah,
Yeah.
not yet, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
And then you realize later down the line, many years later, oh my gosh, if I'd have put that out then, this wouldn't be in there, you know?
True.
And we had
Yeah.
these other inner awakenings that take us into other levels that actually really kind of give the soul to the book in a sense, you know?
My goodness, I love that. Thank you. You've just reminded
Mm.
me of something that's come up a couple of times, and I've thought,
Okay.
oh wow, this is really a golden nugget here.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, and it's kind of, it's always alive, isn't it? As you're writing, it's constantly this energy of its own, as we've
Mm.
discussed before. These books have their own energy. They want to be birthed, but like you say, there is a real trust in the divine timing element of that, isn't there?
Exactly. I mean, the universe itself is conscious. It has to be because nothing
Mm.
existed outside of it, according to science. So, it means consciousness was in there. So everything is conscious. It's consciously aware, just not in the same way as we are, right?
Mm.
We think because it hasn't got two eyes, a nose, and a pair of balls, it's just like that it can't possibly be consciously aware. So actually, it's not true.
Mm.
There's more to it than that. So
Yeah.
much more we couldn't even perceive as from where we are from our standpoint right now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree. And we really see and feel the magic of that, don't we? I
Mm,
think on such a daily basis in
mm,
the small and the large things. The magic really is alive, isn't it? It's that beautiful, I think it's a Roald Dahl quote, when you believe in magic, you find more of it, or something like that. I haven't put it
right.
very well, but
Yeah.
it's the more you see magic, the more you'll find, basically. And I
Mm,
really love that, because like
mm,
you say, it can be in, presumably inanimate things, but actually everything has this, again, this golden thread of magic and wonder and life force energy in
mm,
it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Just thinking like, so this inner alchemy, how would one start to inner alchemize their wounds?
Yeah, it's interesting how I've set it out in the book. Is I've started with an autobiographical chapter, so I'm sharing my story. It felt really important to do that in some way. I think that will connect people with me, but also with their own story. It's a tool designed to support somebody to start to begin a real reflection, really. And then from there, there's an actual 3-stage process that's about identifying our grit initially, and then looking at different tools. And there's numerous tools in there to begin to start to alchemize it in this 3-stage process. So what I was very aware of with the book is that I had a lot of content floating around in my peripheries and from my personal experiences. And it sort of really only solidified with a structure last year. So again, this kind of structure was needing to come in more solidly to be able to birth the book in a way that will support people in, with a structured plan and with an outline, so that it supports people through the Grit to Grace process. And part of that is also the 44 card oracle deck. So the book itself has this 3-stage process that's the different chapters are sprinkled across that, as a kind of main structure. But part of the 44 oracle deck that the book also expands upon is tools to support people through that process. There's a number of smaller or larger tools, but really that have this alchemy opportunity throughout all of them. And so people may, in terms of the book, they can sign up to, if think of it like sign up in an organic sense, sign up by reading the book and going on the journey with the book to this kind of piece of work, if you like, this inner alchemy piece of work. Where in contrast, the oracle deck, when it's available separately, will be, you can use that like a regular oracle deck for hits of inspiration, or again for really focused pieces of inner alchemy work, that will be available on every single oracle card as well. So
why 44 oracle cards?
That's the number that's downloaded so far, Colin.
Okay,
that they tinkered in. They all
so it was a downloaded number. Yeah,
it was a downloaded number. I didn't know when it was going to stop. I thought I got the sense it was 44, and at the moment it's on 44. But there's been even recent tinkers and changes to that. So weird. They may keep going. We'll see. But 44, I'm all right with that. If it rests there, that's a good deck to me. I'm happy with that and what's there. So they all started coming in. The book was already happening, but the oracle deck was unplanned and started downloading I think it was literally January the 1st last year, 2024.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Mine was December, about a week before Christmas, December 2023.
Wow.
And within 5 days, I had the whole set done, 72 cards.
Wow.
So that's interesting that, all right, it's 12 months apart, but on that, during that time, you had it. Yeah.
Sorry, your December 2023?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was only a week apart. So mine, January 24.
Oh, right. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
The oracle cards came
Well,
in.
look at that. Look at that. And that is really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. We must have been
news. That's new news to us, right? Because you didn't and I didn't know.
No. No. We both knew we were creatives, didn't we? But we didn't know we were creating at the same time.
And how many other people have done the same thing?
Yeah.
Right? Like tapped into that consciousness, that higher consciousness of going, hey, it's ready.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating.
It really is.
So when we're looking at doing like inner alchemy and inner work, are we looking at first, obviously identifying a wound, right? Whatever wound that might be, is identifying that wound. Kind of what do we do then when we identify the wound? What would you say would be the next step?
Definitely not to bypass any healing or time or care that was required. That's something that the book gives a lot of time and space to as well, is the appropriate healing. And within that, for me, that is key, is the true meaning of holistic health. So really looking at every level, every layer of the body. And I'm not going to give like the whole chapter of this book away.
No, don't.
I've got a whole chapter on this section in the book, and I'm really stoked about it. So, I'm not going to be my own spoiler, but
mini spoiler.
But I'm really stoked about the whole book. But there's a really buzzy that felt really alive for me to share about the true holistic health kind of model in my mind. Again, this is something that downloaded. There's a lot of it that is out there, and there's some extra bits that kind of downloaded for me. So that was really interesting, and some aspects of that are missed quite a lot, even in the holistic world. So that's been really interesting, and I think that's key for understanding any alchemy journey, we have to start with the healing. We have
Yeah.
to start with the grit, the impact that it's had on our systems, or maybe still having on our systems, and how to navigate that initially. So certainly not bypassing any
Mm.
issues or healing required.
So I would imagine that next step would be like step into the heart, like because that's the only place where you can really kind of get a more balanced outlook.
I
You
love
know, like
that.
yeah, step into the heart, um, and then remind, isn't it? Remind yourself that you're not the wound.
Yeah, a
You
million
know what I mean?
percent.
That's like it's yesterday's news. You're carrying yesterday's news, but you're acting like it's
Exactly.
here now, and it's really not. It might feel that
Yeah.
way because we haven't stepped into the heart enough. Um, Something I mentioned to somebody a while ago was I feel the reason also why we're carrying wounds is because we haven't said I forgive you enough times.
Mm, yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, and there's so many factors, isn't there, as
Yeah.
to why we're still carrying wounds. And this is something else the book really expands upon. We're very conditioned to not feel, and to not, look at the impact of these
Mm.
things, and distract, and all of the things. And also the nature of trauma itself can be very
Yeah.
disassociating. So there's quite a lot in my book as well about both psychology and the impact on the body, and spirituality, that really linking up. There's a lot in there about cellular memory, really going into the wounds. If
Hmm.
that, if and what's calling for our conscious awareness,
Yeah.
if we haven't got a remembrance, or we haven't got an understanding of our wound, what else is the body trying to tell us? There's other indicators that can point to really signposting our evolution. I mean, that's ultimately what my work is about
Mm.
inspiring people to evolve. And that's from, alchemizing our wounds. And we have to start by looking at the stuff, and looking at why we don't want to look at the stuff as well,
Yeah.
and being in that supportive space. I think you're right. I think heart energy is key, but there's also a lot of things.
Yeah. And I think the reason why some people can't step into forgiveness is because the condition they've put upon why they shouldn't.
Mm,
There's a condition. I can't do that because, and that's their reason to hold on to the pain. Because if I let go of that,
yeah,
it means they get away with it. Or if I let go of that, it means that I'm not a good person. Or if I let go of that, it means, and whatever
yeah,
it means. Yeah. But that's your permission
absolutely.
slip to hold on to it.
Absolutely. And oftentimes, I think, certainly one of the factors for me, and I see in others, is we might not yet feel in a safe enough place to start to look at it. So, as well, I think, yeah, and I think it's always such credit to people if they, come for a Reiki treatment, or even if they pick up this book, or they do whatever it is in their own life that's saying, actually, I'm investing in being my own safe enough person to start to look at this stuff, to start to, see where I'm at and what I'm needing. Such a powerful step, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
wow, how am I actually doing? Like, let's tune in, to have cultivated enough safety in one's own life and surroundings, particularly if they've had a traumatic or a highly adverse background, or, or that, or even if, dare I say it, they're just on a path, a spiritual path. We get these things to grow from, don't we? And so, you know I'm of the understanding that everybody's got something that to look at and grow from. And it's been really brave, and feeling safe enough as well to be able to do that, to start to do that work.
Yeah. 100%. And those that think they've done all the work and there's nothing else have really not started the work.
No, it's lifelong, isn't it? We're always learning and growing,
Yeah, yeah,
always.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's look at how we can inspire others to be courageous enough to make positive changes. So give us some solutions. Like we're not asking you to give you the whole your whole book, but just give us like maybe a couple of snippets of like something
Yeah.
that people can do now, like in this moment now. What can somebody do if they're feeling, let's say, let's use one thing. So anxiety. So if somebody's feeling anxious right now, what is one
Okay.
thing they can do for anxiety?
Yes. So one good thing could be a body scan, a basic, tuning in, downtime,
Describe that.
bringing.
What's a body scan?
So somebody laying or sitting in a quiet, safe, calm place where they can just shut out all the external noise for even if it was for 10 minutes. If you do that morning and evening, you're going to start to notice that you're obviously regulating all your systems more often. That's going to have an impact on the rest of your day, with a little
So,
bit of
so basically
time.
staying in a room where it's quiet and scanning. Yeah.
Yes. So by scanning, I mean, maybe starting at the head, because we're often up here, aren't we, with all our thoughts. We're starting at the head, bringing the conscious awareness down into the heart space and just breathing there. Maybe 3 long, slow, deep breaths, bringing your own self back to your center. And then from that place, we can start to notice, what is the body trying to say? What is this anxiety trying to point to?
Mm.
What wants to have a voice here? It's what's the anxiety trying to tell me? Because
Yeah.
part of my resonance is that all of our symptoms are pointing at us either for action or for healing or for some care. So I'd be giving that anxiety a curious voice, a curious space. So to support ourselves, we obviously don't want to be living in a state of anxiety, so coming down into the heart space with some really good breathing and to do some self-inquiry for there. If that's not possible, if the person's too anxious to get into that place, then it's looking at what is causing the anxiety, I think, externally.
Mm.
Again, we've got to be in that place of safety enough to be able to start to do this. And if that means they're making some external changes first, some of my tools and cards do look at relationships, environment, the things that are around us that will be reflections of the inner world,
Mm.
and the inner indicators. But is there something pressing? And if so, start there.
That is exactly what I would have said as well. If they even if they don't feel safe enough to be in a space, it's just
Mm,
identify
mhm,
that emotion is a reflection and an indicator of something that's going on deeper. And it's that
mm.
moment having that awareness. So awareness is key to everything, right? To change in anything. And so
Yeah,
you go, right,
absolutely.
I'm aware that I'm feeling like this.
Mm,
Okay, I know that my emotions are reflections and indicators of something going on deeper down.
mhm,
So what do I do now? And I think that would be a nice way to kind of let them unfold into, what do I need to do now? Do
mm,
I move away from the person that's annoying me, or
mhm,
do I find myself, I'm not with anyone? Do I find a space in the room that I feel safe in?
mm.
Once that awareness that, hey, this is going on, and then move into the space, what do you feel
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel that if we're ever unsure, like you say, the heart will tell us. That could be another tool in itself. What does my heart say? So once you've quietened the breath and the mind, even if it's just for, 30 to 60 seconds, to just be still enough to even invite awareness from the heart space, you will start to, the more we listen to it, the more chatty hearts will be, I feel, the more we give them a voice, the more they will share with us. And I think, again, that innate intelligence in the body is absolutely wanting to support us with the knowledge and the answers and the magic that it's all there, it's all within. So
It
the
is.
more time we give it a voice, even however
Mm.
shorter spell, the more we're onto something.
I agree 100%. And it's about just being now, but also that connection, how we communicate with the heart, right? So,
Mm,
you know, I know so many people that would want to tell them, oh, stop being stupid, or, oh, I don't want this, and da 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 da, and everything's about kind of resistance, energy at that point.
mm,
But actually, like, if you imagine if you were speaking to a 3-year-old child, and the 3-year-old child fell down, learning to walk, and well, maybe it's a bit younger than 3, but they're learning to walk, right? And they fall down, and you don't go, you stupid idiot. What do you do that for? You're being stupid. Just get up and blimmin' walk, right? You wouldn't say like that to a 3-year-old child or whatever age child it is, right? 18 months.
Yeah.
Um, so, you wouldn't say that to the child. You'd support the child. You'd say, right, okay, it's okay. First thing, isn't it? It's okay.
Of course.
And and having that communication with your heart like it was a 3-year-old child, because we also have the subconscious going on. The
Mm,
subconscious is where we store our wounded our wounded heroes, if you like, the
mm,
child that got hurt, that wasn't expecting to have that kind of experience, but it happened, so
mm,
like your wounded heroes, and that they store in the subconscious. And if you've ever tried speaking to a 3-year-old that fell off a wall, you try having a conversation with them, you don't go, no, just tell me what happened. No, just tell me what happened. It's like you go, okay, let's just break this down. So you were walking on the wall, and you would literally step by step break it down. So I think that
absolutely.
communication with the heart is like absolutely key to taking it back, because it keeps you calm.
Mm,
Also, you get so much more information out if you listen, right? It's
mhm,
communication. Speak like that, and then just listen,
mm.
and feel.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's so key, isn't it? For allowing the space to hear the reply, trusting that there is a
Mhm.
reply with just a small window of time, probably a small space, a small time carved out of the day.
Mhm.
I think the connection is quite powerful when we make that space.
Yeah, I think Albert Einstein said it best. He said, the intuitive mind is the sacred gift, the rational mind, the faithful servant. We've created a society that's become reliant upon the servant and has forgotten the gift.
Mm,
And that's so blimmin' true, especially today, that we don't trust ourselves enough to think
no.
that we know the answers, right? There's always a professional, but
Mhm.
actually, you are the answer.
Yeah.
You are the answer. It's already in you. And coaches like yourself or me and other people out there would help kind of draw that out and get you actually understanding you, so you can actually communicate with you better
Mm.
and have that dialogue and go, I trust myself, which is the intuitive mind, right?
Absolutely. And it's so interesting and so powerful. And it's also really interesting to note the numerous reasons, which we wouldn't have even time to begin, I'm sure, today, but the numerous reasons as to why we don't, and the
Mm.
conditioning and, lots and lots of factors, cellular memory, generational stuff, consumerism. I mean, the list goes on about why we don't. So it's also again, that compassion and that forgiveness for self as to really understanding and empathizing why we haven't done that so
Mhm.
much of our lives potentially, and collectively why we largely don't do that. So it's really interesting, again, having these conscious conversations.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So this is completely, all these shows are completely unscripted. I don't go by blah blah blah. It's like we'll just see how it unfolds naturally. So here's something that's going to unfold right now.
Okay.
So is there anything we could do that you could show us? I don't know if it was through just closing our eyes or something, but is there something you could do to kind of help people kind of find the balance, or just tune into their heart a little bit? Is there a practice that you know of that you could share?
Um, I think again, it would be that just finding that quiet, clear space and body scanning. And by body scanning, what I mean is once you've gone into the heart, literally going through your whole body from an internal place of awareness, from that inner consciousness, to really check in.
Could we
And
do that? Could you guide us through
we
that now?
could. Okay,
Yeah,
let's do it.
yeah,
Yeah, sure.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep an eye on the time. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to do sort of just like a maybe up to 5 minute version.
Fine. Yeah.
So it's a quick thing for people. Okay, so if you'd like to lay or sit in a comfortable position, closing your eyes and bringing your awareness from your head, from wherever it is, from any external events, from any pain, from any noise, from any distractions, bringing it all back to you, bringing it all back down through your core into your heart space. From the heart space, taking 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Trusting in that inner space, trusting in your inner light, knowing that you are safe, knowing that you are held in your own heart's light, feeling that you are a part of the earth and also a part of the light. From this place, you are completely protected, you are completely safe, and you are complete love. Tuning in now to your inner world, noticing any pain indicators, noticing any niggles, noticing where your body wants to give a voice that you may have distracted from. You may have been too busy to hear, or you may not have had the time to allow to give this part a voice. Now is that time. If you have an indicator, then sit there, sit in that place and see what it likes to share with you. Feel it more fully. Feel the sensation it's bringing up and ask it to show you or tell you or to give you a knowing of what wisdom it wants to share. If you don't already have something indicating to you, then take a moment now to scan through from the top of your head all the way down each arm, down your core, down both of your legs and to your toes, to see if there's a point of resistance or a point of stuck energy, or a point that just feels like it wants to get your attention. If you need to come back to another heart breath, your heart will help to guide you. Sit with the indicator, sit with yourself, sit with your incredible body, and give it the space that it may be asking for. What is it trying to tell you? Maybe it just requires some space and rest and time. You can also use this space as an opportunity to ask your heart what your heart would like to say. So either from your indicator or from your heart space now, gleaning any last understanding or awareness or wisdom that your body has for you and is sharing with you now. Coming back into those really deep, slow, long breaths from the heart space. Remembering that you are safe here, that you are always part of the earth, you are grounded, and you are always part of the light, and you are protected. We are the earth, we are the light. We are whole and complete. From this place of the earth and place of the light, we give thanks to our bodies and the wisdom that they hold and share with us. Completing this exercise now by saying thank you to yourself 3 times. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You may wish to journal anything that came up for you. And when you are ready, return into your normal cycle of breath. And when you're ready, opening your eyes, coming back into your room. How did you get on, Colin?
Wow. Yeah, very good. But I was going off as well. I was like,
Were you?
oh, but that happens when I go into meditation. Like I can do the
Gorgeous.
body check, and then suddenly I'm pulled to being having an experience.
Of course.
It's
I think,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and I think if someone can allocate more time than we had today, I think it's really lovely to really check in with all areas
Yeah.
of the body, really check
Yeah.
in with what's lurking in there, what's tinkering around,
Yeah.
and also just really giving ourselves that space. And I know for many it can feel like a luxury. We often can't afford to give that space and time. So if we only have the 5-minute options of these kind of things, then great. I think it's definitely shouldn't be a barrier. So as little or as much as we can do, but if we have more time, and it's really nice to go into it in a deeper way, more thorough way.
I definitely got something from it though. I mean, I had I'm back at the gym and I'm doing like 2, 3 days a week at the gym. And I was there yesterday and I was thinking today about going to do the back part. But I did feel a little twinge down my spine yesterday. I was doing biceps and triceps yesterday. And but I felt a little and I was like, oh, hello. And it was when I was doing, the dips that you do with your arms. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is that that got me. And I was thinking about going there today, and as I was thinking about that, doing that meditation, I saw these what do you call them? A level crossing for a train thing, but the barriers are down, and there's this stop sign that said stop, and I
Interesting.
was like, okay, no gym today.
Yeah, the body's like, no.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's beautiful how you
exactly.
got that wisdom, and you're obviously someone who's visual, but I know people can really glean that wisdom either through just a knowing or the sign, a visual sign, but a song lyric, whatever it might
Yeah,
be, a word, seeing a
yeah,
word,
or
or
even a
hearing a word,
feeling, right?
or a feeling. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it's also really great to remember to
Mm.
credit all of our
Senses.
wisdom and senses. Absolutely. Yeah. I love
Beautiful.
that.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Stella, this hour has gone so
It's
quickly.
gone really quick. Yeah, really quick. There's so much more we could say, but yeah, it's
There
been
is,
really,
there
really
is,
good.
but it's not the last time.
No,
For sure.
absolutely.
You will be coming back on again,
Oh,
whether you
can't
want to or not.
I can't wait already.
I'm sure
It's
people would love to hear from you again, and I love that guided meditation. Thank you so much for sharing that, and you've got such a perfect voice for that as well. To just that gentle flow to your voice. So you have a beautiful meditation voice. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really on the hop. So I
I
hope that was
know.
helpful for
I know.
people.
I'm sure it would be. All they have to do
Great.
is replay it again, right? Because sometimes
Yeah.
it might not make sense the first time round,
Mm,
but try it again and try it
yeah.
again. Do it. I would say do it at least 3 times
Mm,
just to see if something changes. And even if it's a small change, notice the change. Oh, I
yeah.
felt just for a moment, then my mind switched off. That's a start. You
Mm.
know?
Absolutely. And being really curious about what comes up as well, like if you don't mind, let's use your back example just for a
Mm,
moment.
mm.
Like, there might be something, I was going to say behind that, there's what does the
No pun
back,
intended.
no pun intended, what does the back signify to you? What's the spiritual meaning of back pain? What's that trying to say? Is there an old story there? Or is there just, you're needing some rest and extra support today?
Yeah.
It's
And
interesting.
whole old injuries as well.
Mm,
You know,
yeah, they
something
hold.
coming up there that even though the injury's healed, like, I think you're kind of talking about this where we get scar tissue, not because there's the scar tissue, because cells replicate and they repair very, very well.
Mm,
But the emotional trauma within the
mm,
cell can create the scar, right? And become
exactly.
visible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Interesting stuff.
yeah.
So
It's
good.
amazing. Stella, thank you so much. I always ask people this before we finish. So, if there was one message you could share with everyone right now, what would that message be?
I'm going to go with along the theme of your series, the Be the Change, because I think it's really beautiful, the topic that you're covering at the moment. And one thing I don't think we touched on quite today was being that change that you want to see, being that new frequency, sometimes even before we're ready to. So this might be a bit of the old fake it to make it, but I love that because sometimes I think it's quite easy again to forget that we can do that. We can bring in the energy that we want to be and bring in the change that we want to be. So hopefully,
Mm,
again, this is something I've lent into a few times when I haven't felt ready and I haven't felt high frequency and I haven't felt whatever else that I've wanted to. Sometimes it's bringing in a little bit of that, isn't it? Really consciously. So I'd say to people, let's be the change as much as we can.
yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And and I would just add a little bit to that as well, as the illusion is that we can't be that change.
Mm-hmm.
So we then go, well, what would it feel like if I faked it? But if you're faking it and you're experiencing it, then you are it.
Yeah,
You've always been it.
we have that
It's
power,
always
don't
been you.
we?
It's always been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just talk ourselves out of it. Permission slips again.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Stella, thank you so,
Thank
so much.
you.
Any final words before you go?
Um, just please look out for my book and oracle deck. There'll be lots and lots and lots more tools than what we've done today in there as well.
Cool. I'll for sure. I'm in.
Thank you.
And how can people get in touch with you, Stella?
Yes, on socials, I'm over on Instagram as evolve with underscore grace underscore. Stella Grace Holistics on Facebook. And my website is www.stellagrace.me.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And YouTube? You on YouTube as well?
I am on YouTube. I almost
Yes.
forgot. Evolve, evolve with Grace. It's
Beautiful.
evolve with Grace slash Stella Grace dash.
Beautiful.
Sorry, Stella Grace. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so, so much. And
Thank you.
we look forward to speaking again soon. And
Absolutely.
to everyone that's watched today, I hope you really got something out of today. She brings such a beautiful, calm energy to any space that you're in. And she's always full of just that beautiful joy, that absolute beautiful feminine energy that I love about Stella.
Oh,
But from me right now, it's time for me to say, keep shining brightly as the beautiful soul that you are. Live with joy, live with faith in that beautiful, amazing heart of yours. Live with the feeling of happiness. Always know that happiness is a choice. The moment you feel yourself spiraling down, just think of one joyous moment and instantaneously you begin to spiral back up again. You might not notice it straight away, but you'd have already started the process. Take care, everyone. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And from me and from Stella, it's a heartfelt goodbye.
Happy Mind, Happy You, where your journey to boundless possibilities begins. Keep up to date through radio, podcast, and all the socials. Simply type Happy Mind, Happy You, or look for our logo, the heart with a smile.